Hello and welcome to this webinar about Good Neighbor Grant Program information. Thank you for taking the time to view this webinar, and we hope that it'll be helpful as you complete your Good Neighbor Grant application. My name is Astrid Tenney, and I'm the Program Manager for Grants and Community Relations at the Jack and Cook Foundation. I'm joined here by my colleague Stacy DeBaldo, who supports our team in her role as Program Coordinator. During the webinar today, we will cover several areas. We'll make a quick introduction to the foundation and our programs. We'll talk about the Good Neighbor Grant, the application process, and cover any changes we have implemented this year, and provide some answers to commonly asked questions. The mission of the foundation is to advance the education of exceptionally promising students who have financial need. And we do this through scholarships, research, and grants. Since inception, the foundation has given $200 million in scholarships to over 2,600 students nationwide. Our scholarship dollars are not the only benefit that students receive. They also get educational advising, cohort-based advising, scholar community of similarly situated peers, opportunities to take academic and extracurricular risks, and cohort-based scholar and alumni events. I encourage you to take a look on our website at www.jkcf.org/scholarships. To learn more about these programs and share them with the students in your program so that they may be aware of these amazing scholarship opportunities. In addition to scholarships, the foundation administers its grant programs, and grant initiatives really help us reach more students because we realize that through our scholarship programs, we can only reach a limited number of students. And our grant initiatives really aim to expand educational opportunities throughout the state for high-achieving students with financial need. Our Good Neighbor Grant is under our local grant initiatives. Our two other program areas are thought leadership and closing the excellence gap. And we'll talk today about Good Neighbor Grant in particular. For regional support and grants in this program area really allow us to partner with organizations in the Washington, D.C. region that support students in reaching their full potential through education. The Good Neighbor Grant was established in 2012 to provide us with an opportunity of being able to support youth-serving nonprofit organizations in the region where the foundation is located. As you know, we're located in Loudoun County in Northern Virginia, and our position here in Northern Virginia really does allow us to explore opportunities for partnership in our region, and the Good Neighbor Grant really allows us to do that. Since 2012, we have awarded 54 grants totaling over $1.7 million in this program area. And organizations can apply for grants between $10,000 and $35,000. This program area has specific designated geographic regions. And I encourage you to take a look at this slide which details which areas are covered under this grant. This is a one-time grant with a possibility to reapply after a gap year. And you should know that former grantees do not get a preference in the selection process. And they are reviewed on par with new applications. So organizations must be located in and serve students in one of these designated regions. They must have a 501c3 status. Projects for which you're applying must be in the areas of K-12 education or college access or visual arts and performing arts education. And you must not have received a Good Neighbor Grant from us within the past 12 months. Be sure to review the eligibility section. The application actually allows you to complete an eligibility quiz, so you will do that. And these are program areas that we do not fund. be sure to review these carefully when considering a specific program or a project for this application. So what types of programs we are looking for this program area? We're looking for distinctive and noteworthy programs that provide rigorous educational opportunities for students. We're looking for programs that really have a great reputation for operating high-quality programs that achieve outstanding results, programs that exhibit excellence and strive to exceed standards rather than meet them. For us, there's a difference between programs that focus on proficiency versus excellence. We are generally looking for programs that really challenge students to reach higher academic gains and new levels of academic excellence, programs that engage students in high-quality learning experiences. And, we look for programs that are serving low to moderate income students. Good Neighbor Grant does not, programs do not need to solely have underserved students, but we like to see that some or the majority of students exhibit financial need. We also don't shy away from funding new exciting pilot projects. And so those are definitely eligible under this grant category. Note that the application this year has two phases. In this initial phase, we request a brief organizational information and a description of your project only. We wanted to simplify this process for applicants, and the application is fully online, available from our website beginning on September 3rd. Note that the application deadline this year is October 1st, which is a little sooner than in previous years, so please make a note on your calendar. The bulk of the application focuses on your specific project. There are 2 questions related to this in the application, and we have allowed about 2 pages of narrative for this, so be concise and judicious about how you use that space in the application. We want to sort of get a sense of the quality of your programs, the types of students you serve, and the activities that take place. So be descriptive and feel free to include student perspectives or student success stories from students who sort of benefited from your program. We also encourage you to follow those guiding questions in its section. There are 2 in the application. There is also a word limit for text boxes, so be sure to follow those. You can save your application and return to it later, as long as it is before application deadline of October 1st. We're asking everyone to submit applications by 5 p.m., close of business on October 1st. So wanting to give you a little glimpse of the selection criteria. What are those criteria we look for in the application when we're reviewing your proposal? First and foremost, we want to understand how your project complements the foundation's efforts and work, and really ask ourselves if the organization's core programming is consistent with our mission of supporting students who have financial need. Project excellence is generally talking about, is the program providing access to rigorous academic and artistic educational opportunities? Is it engaging students in those quality learning experiences? We're looking for programs that have a meaningful and measurable impact on students. Applications that have been successful in the past have really connected the dots between how their programming will lead to higher academic gains. And we're looking for program noteworthiness. What does this refer to? Really ask yourselves, why is your organization different, and how is it different from others in that space that are helping students? And we want to know how you're addressing a specific need in a unique and innovative way. In short, what makes you stand out? Feel free to highlight an aspect that really speaks to our mission. Other considerations for our selection process that we'd like to note is because we have a limited budget, each selection process, during each selection process, we're able to approve a final pool of 8 to 12 grantees each year, depending on the size of the ask and the budget we have. And so within that cohort, we try to create a geographic sort of diversity across the Washington, D.C. region. We try to build a cohort of grantees that represent a variety of areas such as STEM, college access, arts, enrichment, academic enrichment, programs that vary in their timing of delivery, so summer, academic year, and generally, this process, yes, while competitive, in phase 1 application, we made it simple enough for you to provide enough information for us without burdening you with too many data points and touch points. So besides the project narrative, we're not asking for any attachments or any budgets, any additional information. This phase really focuses on project information only. And during review, each application is read at least 3 times and scored by our reviewers. Finally, we wanted to give you a sense of the type of projects we've funded in the past by highlighting some grantees that we've funded in the past few years. There are a lot, but we've picked a few that really stand out and have scored well in the selection process. So I wanted to share those with you. And Stacy, can you talk a little bit about these grantees?
Sure. So the picture we're looking at right here is from a 2018 Good Neighbor grant, which was American Chemical Society, and they received a grant to support Project Seed, which pairs students with rigorous summer research opportunities and a trained mentor. So students spent the summer conducting research in collaboration with their mentor in either a professional or academic setting. The program scored high in our selection review because it provided a unique opportunity for in-depth study for underserved and motivated high school students. Next up is Propel Academy, which is in Loudoun County. And Propel Academy received a 2017 Good Neighbor grant of $35,000 to launch Propel Academy, which is an 18-week after-school program for students who exhibit potential and come from low-income to moderate-income backgrounds. The program focuses on science, technology, engineering, and math concepts with an emphasis on computer coding and digital literacy. And the program also engages students in various science competitions throughout the year, and due to the program's success, it's now being replicated at additional elementary schools in Loudoun County, and it's really a great talent development program for elementary students. And finally, our last example is Levine School of Music, who received our 2017 Good Neighbor grant. And they used the grant to support music scholarships to promising students who have financial need, and also provide enrichment activities to prepare them for entry into their rigorous music honors program.
Thank you, Stacy. And we want to cover some frequently asked questions as well that we've compiled throughout the year. Stacy, should we start with the first question?
Sure. So the size of the ask, does it matter how much funding we request?
So no, we do not take the size of the request under consideration when reviewing the application. The size of the ask has to make sense within the project that you're applying for. So, you know, if the total project cost is $25,000 and you're requesting $30,000 from the foundation, that might raise some red flags, but generally we don't take this under consideration during the review process.
And when is the earliest that the project can start? Can we request a grant for an ongoing project?
Sure. Ongoing project is fine. Note that the grant period generally cannot start earlier than April 1st, and so any program expenses incurred before that cannot be covered by this grant. The April 1st start date is generally the grant period would be 12 months following the start date.
Great. So are overhead costs covered by this grant?
Yeah, great question. Unfortunately, because the amount of grant funding is so small, we prefer that organizations use it for direct expenses only, and this program area does not cover indirect costs.
Okay. So how long is the grant period, and can we use the funding over 2 years?
So no, grant periods must be 1 year, and that's 12 months. It can begin as soon as April 1st. And with certain programs that follow the academic year schedule, we can extend the grant period by a month or two, but generally they should be around 12 months.
Can we reapply every year?
No, you cannot apply for the Good Neighbor Grant in a consecutive year. If you received your grant in the spring of 2019, you cannot reapply for the grant in the fall of 2019. However, you can in the fall of 2020. So there is a gap year between the grants. And as I mentioned during the webinar, former grant recipients are reviewed in the same way as first-time applicants. We do not give preference to grantees.
And what is the phase 2 application process like?
So once phase 1 is completed, a smaller group of applicants will be selected to apply for phase 2, which is a little bit longer application and asks for more organizational information. The application allows us to save the information from phase 1. So that information you will not need to re-enter, but we're asked for other information as well as several attachments such as your organizational budget, your tax status letter, board members, etc. That's all collected in phase 2. Phase 1 is, in phase 1 we're requesting minimal information to ensure the burden on applicants is small.
Okay, so when will I know if I've made it to phase 2?
So we're going to review phase 1 applications, and by middle of October, you will receive notifications about the decisions regarding your application.
And can an organization apply for a brand new project?
Yes, you can apply for a brand new pilot project or a new project that you want to launch. In which cases you will not be able to provide program outcomes, of course, since it's a new program. However, we recommend that you provide us a bit of a context about other projects you've started successfully to give us this sort of an overview of your capacity to complete a project.
And can public schools apply directly for this grant?
Yes, public schools can apply directly for this grant. However, we do recommend partnering with your district's education foundation to submit the application. Most public school systems have an education foundation with trained staff and excellent grant writers who can help you really refine your application before submitting. So we do recommend partnering with them to submit your application.
Great. So one last question is, if my organization is based in, say, Baltimore, but we serve students in DC, are we eligible?
No. So organizations must be located in the specified geographic regions and serve students in those regions. And that list is listed on our website as well as mentioned in this webinar. Please review those geographic sort of location criteria and to determine if your program is eligible.
Great. So that's all the questions I have for you.
Wonderful. Well, thank you everyone for listening. I hope this was helpful. You can reach out to us at grants@jkcf.org should you have any additional questions. And we encourage you to follow us on our social media accounts where we post information about upcoming deadlines, grant opportunities, and highlight the work of our grantees, and of course, showcase our recipients of our scholarship program. So thank you again, and good luck.